Really fun weekend in the WNBA. All-Star festivities in Phoenix. The All-Stars beating Team USA. Angel Reese had a double-double. Caitlin Clark had 10 assists. Dallas's Arike Ogunbowale was the star. Game-high 36 points. As the players left off the Olympic team, beat the Olympic team. So, as we head into the nearly 4-week-long Olympic break, here's our WNBA Power Rankings. The Liberty still at 1. Sun jumped the Aces for 2nd. Fever remains 6th. Nobody moved more than 1 spot up or down. Next game, 3.5 weeks away, August the 15th. Let's get Ashley Nicole Moss in here, and let's start at the very top with the New York Liberty. They moved to 3-0 against the number 2 team in our Power Rankings, the Connecticut Sun. How much better was the Liberty in this, I guess, quote-unquote, first half of the season?
I mean, a lot better. Numbers lie. I mean, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie, right? So the record is, and the record tells you exactly what kind of team this is. It's a dominant basketball team. And as a New York Liberty fan myself, I'm switching from the Knicks to the Liberty since my Knicks are on hiatus right now. Listen, you've seen a drastically different Liberty team, I feel like, just in their focus. I think a lot of the times last season, you saw a team that allowed the frustrations and the trials and tribulations that come with the 4 quarters of a basketball game to get the best of them sometimes. And I feel like this Liberty team has a different level of focus that is really what you want to see when you start talking about playoffs and championships. Now, they do have some injuries. Lanny Hamilton obviously underwent that knee surgery. Breanna Stewart is dealing with a hamstring and she's in Paris. So you wonder sometimes what the team is going to look like after the Olympic break. And I know some people say the momentum and just constantly playing and not having a hiatus is good. I'm on the side where it makes me a little bit worried because I do think eventually your body needs a break, and Breanna Stewart, Sabrina, they're not going to get that. But this is a dominant basketball team, and I have no doubt they're going to be dominant after the break.
Well, a lot like your Knicks, you have not seen the Liberty win a championship in your lifetime. They've been to the WNBA Finals 5 times, including the last couple of the season. They've been very, very close. Last year losing to the Las Vegas Aces, and this year undoubtedly the best team in the league this first half of the year. They took out the Connecticut Sun again, 3rd time this season. The Sun, I mean, they seem to have it against everybody else but the Liberty. What do they do so well against those other teams in the league?
Defense, defense, defense. Look, I am a defense girl. I know that people like, high scoring games and the 3-ball and the crazy trick shots. Love that too. It's very entertaining, but I'm a believer of the old school mantra that defense wins championships. They're big, they're physical, they're aggressive. 21.3% opponent turnover percentage. They lead the league right now. Not only that, but they're almost 94 with their defensive rating. They're 2nd in the league right now. Just absolutely dominant on that side of the ball. Now, again, when you're playing teams as skilled as the Liberty, as the Aces, as some of the best teams in the WNBA, you do want that 3-ball falling. So the fact that they struggle with that point of the game, that part of their game rather, I do think is going to catch up to them in the second half. And when you talk about going down the stretch into the playoffs, so they need to go ahead and figure out that. But their defense is what has made them so dominant, so impressive, and honestly, so difficult to beat.
So we've got them at number 2. We have the Aces a little bit below, even though their record is kind of middle of the pack, upper middle of the pack. They now have, they're pretty much their full complement. It was a wild off season. You had the injury early on in the season. They did lose to the Sky in their last game of this first half. But is this a team that's going to take off in the second half?
I mean, absolutely. We were talking about the back-to-back champions, right? And that first month was rough. Obviously, Candace Parker retires, and you have Chelsea Gray, and she was sidelined with her foot injury, and that was a big part of what they do offensively and defensively. They lost as many games in that first month as they did the entire season last year. So you put that into perspective. There's a lot of trials and tribulations to get over. And granted, we can't discredit the other teams in the WNBA. I think when we talk about this all the time in the NBA, and that's the changing of the guard. And you see teams get better, and you see teams figure out how to take down the top dog, the reigning champs, if you will. And I think that you're seeing that with the Liberty. You're seeing that with the Sun. You're seeing that even though they haven't really been great, and we're going to talk about them in a second, against the top teams, the Seattle Storm are still a very good team. The formula on how to break down the aces is out there. You saw the Sparks do it a few times this season. So I don't want to discredit what the other teams are doing well, but when we talk about the aces, listen, they're going to figure it out. That's a great team. They're led by a great coach. It's just a matter of getting over the humps and the bumps throughout the course of a WNBA season.
And by far the best player in the league in A'ja Wilson, who's just been dominant so far this season. You mentioned the Storm. They're at number 4. Unlike the Aces, they're not really beating anybody above them. They're taking out everybody below them. But does this team have championship potential based on what you've seen from them against the top teams?
It's hard to say, right? Because when you talk about doing just enough to where you're still a top team in the league, that's good, but it's not going to be good enough when you start talking about down the stretch and when the competition gets really, really impactful and the season gets harder and the game gets more physical, right? 17-8 right now, 4th place, 3-6 against fellow top 5 teams, 14-2 against everyone else. So yes, they're still capable of making a run come playoff time. But if you are a Storm fan or just a fan of the way that they play the game, you have to be a little bit apprehensive about how they've struggled against contenders. Because again, as the season progresses, as the playoff picture starts to formulate, you're going to run into those teams again, sometimes a multitude of different ways, a multiple different amount of times. And if you're not able to go ahead and compete against them, you run the risk, obviously, of losing against them, which is what they don't want. So they need to figure out why the formula is not working against the top teams and it's working against everybody else.
Let's go to the last 3 teams that would qualify for the playoffs if everything ended right now. They all stayed put in our power rankings. Fever at 6, Mercury at 7, Sky at 8. Which team of those 3 are you most excited to see in the second half? Or maybe I'll reword that. Which team has the most potential in the second half and in the postseason?
Chris, I think you're going to like this answer. I'm going with the Fever. Listen, Caitlin Clark has figured it out. I know there's a lot of hoorah and a lot of, just much ado about nothing about, is she ready for the WNBA? Is she ready for the big stage? She just needed a couple of games, everybody. She needed to settle in. Listen, the last game before the break, she set the WNBA all-time single game assist record with 19. She now leads the league in assists at 8.2 per game. Like I said, took her a few weeks to settle in, but I think now she's established herself as one of the best playmakers in this league. Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, that team is really starting to formulate. Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark were attached at the hip during All-Star. Those two are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together. This team has a lot of potential to make some noise after the break. I think they started to surge at the right time. I think the break is going to do them well. They're a young team. They're a team that's still trying to figure it out. Caitlin Clark has had a whirlwind of a past few months between, her college season, the draft, everything in between, All-Star, and then obviously her WNBA season. I'm sure her body could use a break, but do not sleep on the Fever. They figured it out, and they figured it out at the right time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a well-rested Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, for that matter. She also went deep into the tournament in her college days and then went right into the WNBA. And those two, that Rookie of the Year race is going to be fun to watch when we resume August the 15th. Ashley Nicole Moss here with our last look at the WNBA Power Rankings for a few weeks, because we have the USA women's basketball teams taking center stage, the 5-on-5 and the 3-on-3 teams. The 5-on-5 team will begin their showcase Tuesday against Germany, and then Olympic play will begin in a week. It's a week from today against Japan.